So you're dealing with some difficult situations in your life. Where do you go from here? Now, I know a lot of times it can seem really bleak. A lot of times, there just doesn't seem to be a way out, right? And I think it's because we focus on the one thing, right? We focus on the issue that's happening in the current time, right? So much so that we forget about time in itself, right? We only think about that one thing. We don't think about what happened yesterday, what happens tomorrow, and we don't even think about the present moment, right? We're just totally engrossed in that thought and idea of what's actually going on in our life at that particular moment. And what you can actually do that will help, right? Since you are focused on that idea, is to try to just focus on what you are actually doing right now, what you're doing in this present moment. Because a lot of times, again, we don't want to think about tomorrow, we don't want to think about yesterday, we just want to think about the idea, that thought in our head, right, about whatever is going on, whatever situation that we're in, and we don't want to think, again, too far ahead. But to get through this time, it's going to take time. It's going to take an understanding to know that whatever difficult situation you're going through, it can be fixed. And if it can't be fixed, you'll learn to adapt, and you'll learn that there's other things out there. Now, we have to also understand that a lot of things have an abundance, right? And I think that's a lot of things that we tend to forget, is that there's an abundance of things. Now, if you have lost a relationship, if you lost a job, or perhaps you are looking for some kind of income, or facing a bunch of other different hardships in your life, whatever the case is, the biggest thing is that you want to take it and look at whatever it is that you can use to solve that particular issue. And instead of worrying so much about that idea, because that idea blinds us, right? It blinds us to seeing anything else, right? We just start going through the motions, right? Like something bad can happen, and then you just go to work, right? And you're just going through the motions. You're not really doing any work, or you're not doing anything at all. You're just kind of going through the motions because that thought or idea just sticks back there and dwells back there. And the best way to try to work through these hard times is to keep yourself busy, right? And to try to keep yourself as present as possible. And the biggest way to actually do that is whenever that thought or idea, comes to mind, is try to catch yourself when you're doing it and realize that, hey, okay, I don't need to be thinking about this right now, and actually just try to think of something positive, right? Think back to a time in your life that was positive, right? Think about a really happy time. Now, anytime that thought or idea comes back into your head, think about the happy time, and allow that to shift your thinking, right? Because that's ultimately what you want to do, is to try to shift your thinking. Because right now it's hard, right? Because it's obviously going through a hard time, and we want to shift our thinking the best that we can. And the more often we do this, the better we get. And to realize that you don't want to just go home and sit down, or go home and try to veg out, because you find that a lot of times when you try to do stuff like that, you come back to whatever that thought or idea was, right? And then the longer you continue doing this, it can turn into a vicious cycle to where eventually you might actually get depressed. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So the biggest way to actually go about this would be, again, to keep yourself busy. And if your schedule isn't packed, try to do something, right? Perhaps try to get your health back on track, and worry about what matters, right? Because if you're not healthy, that's not going to help you along this way, right? Especially if you're trying to adapt to some new change in your life. It could be a dramatic change, it could be a little change, but nonetheless, it's a change that you're not used to, right? It's not the regular routine, and so it's something you have to adapt to. And so you're going to have some time on your hands, right, to try to adapt to this change. And so it's good to keep yourself busy. It's good to keep your thoughts positive ones, as opposed to that bad negative thing, whatever is going on in your life. And then try to concentrate on a solution, right? Maybe there's something that you can do to alleviate maybe some of the pain or whatever it is that you're going through. And again, try to surround yourself with some kind of positivity. Now, in doing so, when you're trying to stay busy, try to do something that you found interest in, right? Like maybe there's something that you really have a lot of interest in that you haven't, started. You can go ahead and start doing that, right? And actually focus your time, energy, and effort on that one thing. And you'll notice that this helps, right? This helps get you along your way. And then eventually, as days get better and things in life just start getting better slowly but surely, right? As long as you're consistent and don't allow yourself to think about, what exactly is going on in that particular situation. And I'm not saying just, go in there and think that, just don't think about it at all. There might be something, maybe there was a death or something in the family. Those are the kinds of things you need to spend time, right, to think about and, mourn, but only give you so much time, right? Only allot so much time and say, hey, at this particular time, I'm done, right? I'm not gonna sit there and mourn anymore. I'm not gonna feel sorry for myself. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna start doing something, right? I'm gonna do something positive and help me get through this and allow myself to adapt to the change and to move forward, right? Because that's ultimately what you're trying to do when you try to deal with any kind of hardship in life, is that you just want to focus on those positive things when things seem bleak. So if this has helped you guys, remember to hit the like button. Until next time, I will see you guys later.